Thank you very much for joining us. I'm Della Cruz. Today we're putting the spotlight on First Baptist Church of Lincoln Gardens in Somerset and its adoption agency, Harvest of Hope Family Services Network Incorporated. It serves all of New Jersey offices in Somerset, Essex, and Cumberland counties. This nonprofit is helping children find loving homes. Our News 12 New Jersey receptionist, Geneva Averett, spoke very highly of this agency and the church. Reverend DeForest B. Soares Jr. is the founder and CEO. Maureen Archibald is the executive director, and welcome to both of you. It's good to have you here.
It's wonderful being here, Della.
I love the little trademark in your hair.
Thank you.
Just wanted to let you know that.
You.
Thank you. I appreciate that. First of all, give us a little bit of the history behind the church and this program.
Well, in the late 1990s, I got a call from then Governor Christine Todd Whitman.
Wow.
Who informed me that the state had a problem with abandoned babies being left in hospitals. Well, at that point, my level of ignorance was extreme, and I assumed that there were worse conditions than a baby being abandoned in the hospital, and why was that such a serious problem? What I learned quickly was that emotional and psychological deficiencies were likely to increase the longer a child stayed in the hospital without the loving and caring touch of parents in the home.
Exactly, that contact's so important in bonding.
And that there was a formal name for those children, border babies.
Really?
And the state was under a consent decree by the courts to identify at least temporary foster homes for those children, and the state was having difficulty finding those children. She called our church, she had been to our church, she knew that we had a growing membership and that we were an action-oriented church. I then committed to finding enough families to take the number of children that were in the hospital at that time out of the hospital. There were 57 children, we committed to 57 parents, and when we did that, I said, Governor, now find someone to help you, and now 18 years later we're still doing it.
Oh, congratulations. So obviously you've accomplished a lot then.
Certainly, certainly.
Tell us about that.
Well, during the first year, we had a large number of families from the congregation who committed to the care of those children. Over 80 families were licensed during the first year. What's amazing is when you come to the church today, you see the finger singers, you see the praise dancers, you see the children's choir, and they're so blended into the congregation, you don't know which child was is a biological child and who was adopted. They're all just wonderful children.
It's a big family.
It is a big family who are well supported by the church and the ministry of First Baptist Church.
But we really never planned to do adoption. Our role was temporary foster care for new infants that were abandoned. The state took so long to come and place the children in more permanent foster care that many of our parents had actually cared for these children for a year or two. And when the state workers came to take the children, our family said, that's my child.
Oh.
And so we kind of came into adoption through the back door. Now, some years later, we've adopted 25% of the children we've placed in foster care.
That's impressive.
So
So your church practice is what it preaches.
Exactly. So our mission was to recruit and train families that could be licensed by the state to become foster parents. And many of those foster parents said, I don't want you to take this child. This child is now my child. We now are licensed to do foster care and adoptions.
What are the current needs of your program, Maureen?
Well, we have over 7,000 children in foster care, in the foster care system throughout the state of New Jersey. Close to 800 children are in need of loving forever families. On any one day, Harvest of Hope receives calls for 15 to 20 children for placement. So our need to recruit and train and license foster families are consistent. We're very committed that every call coming through, we'll make a very diligent effort to make a placement of those children into one of our homes. And these are homes throughout all 21 counties of the state of New Jersey. We have churches that are very committed to that project. We partner with churches throughout the state, throughout all 21 counties, so that we deliberately can place children throughout all 21 counties when we receive calls from the state.
But the hardest children for us to place and the hardest children for the state to place are the older children.
I can imagine.
It's much easier to attract parents, foster parents and adopted parents for newborns and infants. But when a child is 11, 12, 13 years old, has been bounced around in the foster care system for a long time, has parents who are incarcerated or on drugs, that child comes with issues, obviously, that a newborn doesn't have. And it is very special when we have parents who are willing to take in older children, and especially to adopt older children, to give them permanent solutions to problems that they didn't create.
And you know that other child appreciates that. We will be right back with much more here on Spotlight New Jersey. Stay with us. I'm Della Cruz. My guests are active with First Baptist Church of Lincoln Gardens in Somerset and its adoption agency, Harvest of Hope Family Services Network Incorporated. Reverend DeForest B. Soares Jr. is the founder and CEO. Maureen Archibald is the executive director. And before we went to break, we were talking about the need to adopt older children and the challenges of doing that. But so many of your parents are.
Yes, certainly. And to punctuate what Reverend Soares said earlier, we certainly have a large need for older children. Most of us are challenged with the care of our own teenagers. However, we also believe that every child deserves a home, every child deserves a family. And all these children need are really loving, caring families. And we'll see the mass difference that makes in the life of a child. In addition to the fact that we have a great need for home for siblings, yesterday we received call for 3 sets of siblings. 3 sets of children, 3 children who needed a home, another sibling group of 5. So we're committed to finding homes that can accommodate the needs, or to find a group home that will also be committed to the care of those children.
So the process, it needs to be understood. When Maureen says we had the need, the state identifies the children who need placement, state of New Jersey. The state licenses homes to be eligible to take in children that are really the wards of the state. What the state uses us to do is to manage a network of eligible homes. So we recruit the families, we train the families, the state licenses the families, we approve the home, do the background checks, fingerprints, all the legal requirements for foster care and adoption. And once the state approves the home, we at Harvest of Hope manage this network of homes. We provide aftercare, we provide retention services. We go above and beyond what the state does to nurture the families. We have Care for the Caring seminars every month, dealing with issues that families face. And when a child is in need of foster care, for instance, on a Friday night, if the police do a drug bust and the parents go to jail with young kids, the state Division of Families will call our office, and our placement person will then contact our families, because we keep a running record of which of our homes are open or have extra beds. And then we facilitate the placement. We meet the state worker at the home when the state takes the child there. We provide the family with items that sometimes the state doesn't reimburse us for. I mean, we have a contract with the state. They reimburse us for our cost, but we sometimes buy clothing, we sometimes take them on field trips, we provide psychological counseling when that counseling is needed. And so people sometimes donate funds to us, and I want to say thank you to all of our financial supporters. People also provide volunteer work. When we have events, you'll hear about everybody's birthday, and people who are not foster parents come and volunteer. But we also have respite homes. A respite home is a home where a family goes through the training, gets licensed, but only takes care of a child when the normal foster parent or adoptive parent needs a break for a day or 2.
So you truly are a support system. And as we close, I want to add one final thought. Geneva said at the end of your church services, you will stand up and make an announcement, and all the parents who've adopted or taken in kids will stand up and everybody applauds.
We celebrate and affirm the people who engage in active ministry. You know, churches are high on talk, and sometimes we're lower on action. And so the community affirms the behavior of those who take in children who are not their biological children. And it also motivates other people. When Miss Jones sees that Miss Smith is a foster parent and she knows Miss Smith, she'll say, well, if she can do it, I can too. So it motivates and it provides Maureen and her staff with a stronger recruitment message to invite more people to be involved. The fact of the matter is this: most of the young people that end up in jail come out of the foster care system.
And you want to change that cycle.
Exactly.
Reverend Soares, thank you so much for joining us. It was so nice meeting you. I appreciate it.
You too, Della.
Maureen, stay with us. We have much more to talk about here on Spotlight New Jersey. Stay with us. I'm Della Cruz. We are putting the spotlight on the Harvest of Hope Family Services Network Incorporated. Catherine Taylor, lead trainer. Lisa Doyle is a foster and adoptive parent. They both are. She's a trainer for Calvary Chapel, Old Bridge, and heads up the foster care ministry at that church location. Welcome, ladies. It's good to have both of you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Both of you are foster adoptive parents.
Yes.
Tell us about that whole experience and what that's like.
Well, I started fostering quite a few years ago, and I fostered for about 7 years and fostered about 15 children.
Wow.
And adopted 2, which was a wonderful experience, which has made my passion that much more at Harvest of Hope, to get the message out to other families, the importance of children not having homes and just needing someone just to love and nurture and hug and kiss on them and make the difference for them.
And you adopted 2?
2 girls.
Oh, what are their names?
Crystal and Loren.
Bet they love you dearly. And what about you, Lisa?
I was working as a social worker in New York, and I came home and told my husband, you know, there's got to be something we can do, and he said we need to pray. And when we figured out that the Lord was leading us to foster, we went to Calvary, the ministry there. They led us to Harvest of Hope. Catherine was my trainer. And a young girl came to us, and then while she was being fostered, her birth mother was pregnant again, and they asked us if she was to be placed, would we take her? And I said yes, and my husband said, you need to pray. And we prayed, and then her sister came to us, and then in a few years we were able to adopt them.
Oh, I want you all to look at parents who are watching. Look at that camera. Tell them why it's so special to have taken on this commitment, because that's big. That's a lot of love.
It is a lot of love, and a lot of times parents aren't realizing what difference it will make for a child. A lot of people think that children that are coming into the system have issues, they have problems, they're hard to take care of, and a lot of comments I get from families is, I'm going to fall in love with them and then they're going to leave. And I often try to encourage them to realize, even if they're returning back home to their biological parent, that is their parent. But in the meantime, you helped take care, nurture, and love a child until their parent was able to get themselves together.
I was always told family is who loves you when you need it.
Yes.
And what are your children's names?
Licia and Destiny.
Oh.
And I believe that you don't know the seeds that you're planting. You never know the fruit that you're going to come out of that, and for however long you have them in your home. I mean, we're blessed because we have them in our home, but we know that they have a birth family, and we pray for that birth family all the time, and it doesn't make them any less my children. They are my girls. I'll tell you that. So I love them, and just the joy and passion we have in that, that's what we want to share. They come with me to the events. They talk about it themselves. They're 6 and 5, and they talk about it. We just have a passion for it, and I love being part of Harvest of Hope, and now Calvary is becoming more of a part of it.
And what is Calvary?
Calvary Chapel, Old Bridge is the church that I attend. We have over 3,500 people who attend. It's a huge body, and I believe that by reaching out with our ministry, that you know, having that trust within our ministry and within our church, having more people come forward and understand the need for homes, just solid homes, stable homes for these children for however long it is. Just let them be loved, let them be prayed for, let them just, you know that we love them, and whether they stay or they return home, it's that time that we have with them that could just form into something special.
And you all both were trained, but despite all the training, nobody can train you to love someone. You do that naturally out of your own goodness.
Exactly.
Ladies, thank you so much. And
Thank you.
we appreciate what you're doing for these children. That's a legacy that will live on for a long time.
Thank
you. Know? So thank you.
Thank
Our
you
hats
for
go-
exposing this.
Yes.
Thank you so much. People need to know.
They definitely need to
They
know.
do.
My pleasure. Thank you.
Thank you.
We will have much more about Harvest of Hope next year on Spotlight New Jersey. Stay with us. Don't you love these ladies? I do. Yes. We are talking about the Harvest of Hope Family Services Network Incorporated. Executive Director Maureen Archibald is joined by Catherine Taylor, who is the lead trainer, and Lisa Doyle, resource parent and trainer, Calvary Chapel, Old Bridge. This is a fabulous program. What should parents who are interested need to know about it?
Well, thank you so much again, Della, for making this opportunity available to us. If those in our listening audience are interested in going through the process, they could simply visit us on our website at harvestofhopefamily.com. There's a very detailed information about the program as well as how they could get involved, or they could call our office at 732-247-1270, and we have staff who are always there and available to answer questions and certainly invite the families in. We have a detailed orientation session that takes place in any of our 3 locations once a month, where we'll also provide further information on how families could get involved. We have monthly training at our 3 locations as well as in local community site that's convenient to our listening audience. The families are required to go through 27 hours of training, and that's a state mandate. And our staff are wonderful about walking the families through the process as well as the home study process later on.
Maureen, from beginning to end, for a parent that's interested, how long does that whole process take to be checked out, licensed, etc.?
Well, our very motivated families can complete the process within 3 months, and we've had a number of our families who are just so eager to become involved in the process and to have children placed in their homes. So very simply, that process could be completed in 3 months. The state has a 150-day time frame in which the home study process should be completed. And our staff, once again, will guide the families through to make sure all the paperwork that's required is completed, as well as the training. We provide ample support for the families to make that time frame.
Catherine, tell us what you and Lisa do to make sure this whole process goes smoothly for families and to keep them involved and motivated once they're in the system.
All right, I'm the lead trainer at Harvest of Hope. So my responsibility is to be responsible for all the training that takes place throughout all of our locations, as well as outside, as well as at Calvary where Lisa is. And my role is just to make sure that they understand what the process is, what are could be some of the complications of becoming a foster parent, and then walking them through the paper process so that they have all the accurate information so that we can do our research in order to provide the state with all their information for them to be licensed.
And what about you, Lisa?
We just started taking a more involved role with our ministry. I went to get certified to be able to become Pride training. That's the 27 hours Maureen is talking about. And now we're coming alongside Harvest of Hope, and we opened it up to our congregation at Calvary Chapel, Old Bridge. So we're participating in the training process, and then our ministry then comes alongside our families to work with Harvest of Hope and give them also that support. And we reach out to our fellowship to ask for supplies and just support and prayer, and just be part of the Harvest of Hope family.
Right. And Calvary Chapel is just an excellent example, again, Della, of a perfect ministry. We've gotten so much support from Calvary Chapel in Old Bridge, and Lisa is so committed to this process. Churches like Calvary Chapel has brought Harvest of Hope right to their congregation. We do go out to whatever church location would like to make training a possibility for their congregants, so they do not have to travel to any one of our 3 locations. And so again, Calvary Chapel is just a perfect example. We have Bethlehem Church in Randolph. We have churches in Jersey City Hope Center Church. We have Cathedral International in Perth Amboy, who have all partnered with us to make adoption and foster care a possibility for families in the various community. And so just want to say thank you to those churches and invite the listening audience again to become a part of that solution for children who are in need of both foster and adoptive families. Visit our website at harvestofhopefamily.com or by calling our office 732-247-1270.
And we'll put all of that information on news12.com and on social media. Why is it so important to have this circle of churches involved?
Well, we believe that churches do reach a larger number of people in the congregation. We believe that the churches could also provide the support Reverend Sawyer spoke about earlier, where we have holiday events for the children. We have picnics in the summertime. The churches do have mentors and volunteers who could support those events and make it less costly for the agency. We have a monthly support group for our foster families. Our church members are volunteer as child care providers that allows for the families to have a respite, a very nice Saturday morning relaxed time when they can enjoy breakfast, support each other, and the children are well taken care of by volunteers from those church community. Calvary, again, has an excellent ministry that supports the work of the resource families in that way.
That social interaction is so important. Final thoughts, ladies?
Well, it's nice as a church then to have a faith-based organization to go to, so you can feel trusted and be able to express your beliefs and support each other in that way through prayer and beyond. So on behalf of the church part, that we really appreciate Harvest of Hope.
And I often tell our families, once you become a part of Harvest of Hope, we're all a family.
Oh, we are all a family. I love those words. Maureen, Catherine, and Lisa, thank you so much for coming on Spotlight to spread the word about this great program. We appreciate it. And if you'd like to find out more about Harvest of Hope Family Services Network Incorporated, do log on to social media and news12.com. We will link you up. I'm Della Cruz, New Jersey. The Spotlight is on you.
And thank you so much, Della.